Welcome to today's Transformation Dive. What if I told you that your biggest money problem isn't your bank balance? That chasing a bigger number might actually be keeping you stuck? Sounds counterintuitive, right? Like saying your biggest fitness issue isn't the weight on the bar, but how you feel about lifting it. We're hardwired to think more equals better equals enough. But what if the finish line is a mirage, and the real journey is inside your head? At Earn Flow Zone, we're not just about growing your money, we're about growing you, so your money finally starts flowing for you, not against you. We're peeling back the layers of common financial stress and revealing the mindset shifts that unlock real growth. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. And hey, I love hearing from you. Drop a comment with where you're watching from. Or your biggest money habit win lately, big or small. Let's celebrate it. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You open your banking app and maybe you flinch. Or maybe you just sigh. You've been avoiding it. Or maybe you check it obsessively, hoping the numbers magically changed overnight. Whether the balance is low, average, or honestly pretty healthy, there's this feeling, isn't there? A quiet hum of anxiety, a persistent whisper that it's just not enough. Not enough for the bills coming, not enough for the dream vacation, not enough compared to that person you saw online with the perfect curated life and the travel pics. Not enough to feel truly safe or free. It's the feeling that once you just get more income, more savings, less debt, then you'll finally be okay. Then you can relax. Then you can start living, start building, start feeling confident. This feeling is incredibly powerful. It drives us, sometimes to work harder, sometimes to make impulsive, desperate decisions because we're convinced that just one more purchase, one more risky investment, or one desperate side hustle will finally bridge the gap to enough. It makes a broke student feel hopeless looking at ramen noodles, makes a rising professional feel inadequate looking at a friend's new car, and makes a successful entrepreneur feel stressed looking at the next market downturn or their competitor's funding round. It's the financial equivalent of scrolling through social media, comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's highlight reel, and feeling like you're falling short. The myth? That enough is a number you hit, a finish line after which the feeling disappears. You might think, okay, once I have 10K saved, I'll feel secure. You hit 10K, and suddenly the target moves. Now I need 20K to really feel secure. Or you get a raise, thinking that's the answer, only to see your expenses creep up or the goalposts shift to a new lifestyle. The painful truth, people with far more money than you still feel this way. They worry about losing it, about taxes, about market crashes, about whether their kids will be spoiled, about whether they're still successful enough. The never enough isn't solely a financial problem. It's a mindset problem. It's a deep-seated belief, often unconscious, that you are fundamentally lacking, and that external validation, in the form of money or status, is the only way to fill that void. And until you address the mindset, no amount of money will ever truly be enough. It's a treadmill with no off switch, a constant chase fueled by fear, not freedom. The first step, the absolutely critical first step, is acknowledging your version of this feeling. Where does it show up most for you? Is it when you look at bills, compare yourself to others, think about retirement, or simply see a tempting purchase? What number or milestone are you convinced will make it disappear? Ask yourself, what's stopping you from feeling okay or even good about your situation right now, regardless of the number in your account? This one habit, honest self-inquiry about the feeling behind the numbers, changed everything for me. Try this for a week. Every time you feel that never enough pang, pause and identify exactly what triggered it and what specific fear or comparison is driving it. Continue to Section 2. This is where the script would continue seamlessly into the next section's content based on the full outline. Script continues through Sections 2 to 6. So, we've journeyed through the feeling of never enough, explored how mindset shapes our financial reality, and touched on the daily choices that build genuine flow. We've seen that true financial strength isn't just about the numbers on a screen. It's about the beliefs, habits, and discipline that underpin those numbers. It's about building a foundation not just of savings, but of self-awareness and resilience. It's about recognizing that the external chase for more is often a distraction from the internal work that leads to true peace and power. The one big takeaway from everything we've discussed is this: your financial freedom isn't primarily limited by external circumstances. It's limited by your internal world. By shifting your mindset, challenging limiting beliefs, and building intentional habits, even small ones, you are not just changing your financial future, you are changing your relationship with yourself. You are moving from a place of scarcity and fear to a place of possibility and control. The potential long-term benefit here isn't just hitting a specific financial goal. It's building a life where you feel secure, capable, and genuinely free, regardless of market fluctuations or unexpected expenses. A deeper insight emerges when you truly grasp this. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's the path to freedom. Every conscious choice you make to align your spending with your values, to save consistently, or to educate yourself further is an act of self-respect. It's an act of building a future where you don't have to flinch when you check your bank account. True wealth is a holistic concept. It includes financial resources, yes, but it's incomplete without inner peace, purpose, and a sense of enoughness that comes from within. This isn't a quick fix. It's a lifelong practice, a continuous refinement of how you think about and interact with money. But it's the only practice that truly works in the long run. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. And speaking of success, let's peel back another layer of how we define it, because it often gets tangled up with a number in our bank account. This brings us to a core principle we embrace here at Earn Flow Zone, and it might sound counterintuitive at first. Enough. It's a mindset, not a number. Think about that for a second. We live in a world obsessed with metrics, net worth goals, salary benchmarks, investment returns. We're conditioned to believe that enough is a destination we arrive at when we hit a certain financial figure. Maybe it's 6 figures, maybe it's early retirement, maybe it's just having enough to buy that thing you've always wanted. But here's the surprising truth, the myth bust at the heart of true financial peace. Enough isn't a static financial goal. It's a state you choose mentally, regardless of the external digits. This doesn't mean abandoning ambition, crushing your dreams of financial freedom, or settling for a life you don't want. Absolutely not. It means decoupling your intrinsic feeling of security, worth, and peace from external numbers and the endless cycle of acquisition. It's like comparing two people on the water. You can be in a small, sturdy boat on a calm lake, feeling perfectly secure and content. You have enough boat for this moment, this environment. Or you could be on a massive, luxurious cruise liner caught in a hurricane, feeling terrified, overwhelmed, and desperately not enough boat to handle the storm. Your external circumstance matters, yes, but your internal state about it is everything. Consider the broke beginner who finds joy in simple, free activities, learns to cook healthy, affordable meals, and builds strong relationships. They have found a form of enough for survival, well-being, and even happiness in their current reality. They might not have financial wealth, but they've tapped into a different kind of richness. Now, contrast this with a millionaire who constantly worries about market crashes, compares themselves to billionaires, and feels they need more just to keep up. They have financial abundance, but they feel perpetually not enough. The profound, perhaps slightly uncomfortable, insight here is this: you likely already have a level of enough relative to basic survival right now. If you have a roof over your head, food to eat, access to clean water, or even just one person who genuinely cares about you, you've already met fundamental human needs that billions around the world still strive for. Recognizing this baseline isn't about settling. It's about gratitude and building a stable mental platform from which real growth can happen. It shifts your focus from desperate acquisition to strategic progress. Because when you feel enough, even just fundamentally, you make calmer, more rational financial decisions. You're less likely to make impulse buys driven by a feeling of lack or chase get-rich-quick schemes born of desperation. This one mindset shift changed everything for me, moving from a frantic chase to a focused build. It's like realizing you don't need to sprint a marathon. You can walk sections and still finish stronger. Your action today, right now. Write down 3 fundamental things you have in your life today that represent a form of enough. For basic needs or happiness. This isn't a test, it's a reflection. It could be the roof over your head, the food in your fridge, your health, a supportive friend, or even just the ability to watch this video and seek knowledge. Jot them down. Acknowledge them. One of the most sneaky culprits behind that persistent feeling of not enough is the comparison trap. You know it. You've felt it. It hits you when you're scrolling through social media. That perfectly curated feed showcasing highlight reels of exotic vacations, brand new cars parked in front of stunning houses, or seemingly effortless career triumphs. And just like that, your own life, which was perfectly good just 5 minutes ago, suddenly feels inadequate. Your brain, in milliseconds, does a harmful calculation. It compares your current reality, the messy, unedited, behind-the-scenes version, to their polished, airbrushed, front-of-house presentation. This isn't healthy competition that spurs you forward. It's pure self-sabotage, a mental game rigged against you. You're not just seeing their new car, you're projecting your own insecurities onto that car. Their perceived abundance triggers your feeling of lack, making you question your own journey and choices. Maybe they racked up massive debt for that vacation, or sacrificed time with family in ways you wouldn't want to. You simply don't see the full picture. It's like watching a cooking show and thinking your home-cooked meal isn't good enough just because you didn't have a team of assistants and professional lighting. Here's the surprising truth, the myth we need to bust wide open. Comparison isn't truly about them and what they have. It's a projection of your own insecurities and doubts about whether you are enough, whether you have enough. Their perceived success is just a mirror reflecting your own internal not enough narrative back at you. You see their new gadget, and instead of thinking good for them, you think, why don't I have that? What am I doing wrong? The external object becomes a trigger for an internal wound. This dynamic explains why getting something you desired often doesn't make the feeling go away, because the problem wasn't the lack of the object, but the insecurity within that comparison activated. The core concept here is understanding that external triggers unveil internal narratives. So how do you disarm this trap? This one habit changed everything for me in reframing my perspective. Try this for a week. Identify one specific source of financial or lifestyle comparison in your life. Is it a particular person you follow online? A type of media you consume? For the next 7 days, make a conscious effort to limit your exposure to it. If you can't avoid it entirely, then pause when you encounter it. Take a deep breath and consciously remind yourself, their journey is not mine. Their highlight reel is not my reality. My enough is defined by my values, my goals, and my progress on my path, not by their possessions or perceived status. This simple act of pausing and reframing starts to break the automatic link between seeing what others have and feeling deficient yourself. It's a powerful step towards reclaiming your own definition of success and contentment. All right, let's talk about something fascinating that deeply impacts your financial life, even if you don't realize it. Why your brain seems to have this insatiable craving for more. It feels like you reach a goal, hit a milestone, maybe buy that thing you've wanted forever, and for a moment, it's great. Pure satisfaction. But then, the feeling fades, and you're already looking towards the next acquisition, the next goal, the next more. Sound familiar? You're not alone, and it's not necessarily a character flaw. You see, part of your brain is ancient hardware, wired for a world of scarcity. Its primary directive? Seek more. More food for survival, more shelter for safety, more resources to thrive. This was an essential evolutionary drive that kept our ancestors alive. Fast forward to the modern world, and this fundamental wiring translates pretty directly into seeking more money, more possessions, more status markers that signal success and security. Every time you acquire something new or hit a financial goal, whether it's buying a new gadget, landing a promotion, or finally saving up for that down payment, your brain gives you a hit of dopamine. This is the brain's natural reward chemical, a little biological high that reinforces the seeking behavior. Good job, your brain says. Keep doing that. But here's the tricky part, the psychological phenomenon known as the hedonic treadmill. That wonderful feeling of dopamine, it's fleeting. Your brain quickly adapts to the new normal. That brand new phone that felt amazing in your hand for the first few days, it soon just becomes your phone. The excitement fades. The dopamine hit wears off, and you're back to your baseline feeling. To get that rush back, your brain naturally starts looking for the next thing, the next more to chase. It's like trying to get hydration by drinking salt water. The more you consume, the thirstier you become for the next hit. Here's a surprising insight that might lift a little weight off your shoulders. This isn't a moral failing or a sign of being inherently greedy. It's a biological loop. It's how your brain is wired. And critically, it's a loop that consumer culture has become incredibly adept at exploiting. Marketing doesn't just sell products. It sells the promise of that temporary dopamine hit, the feeling of more that you get from acquiring something new. True contentment and financial peace don't come from constantly feeding this loop, but from learning to recognize and override it. It requires a conscious effort to step off the treadmill. So, what's an action you can take right now? The next time you feel a strong urge to buy something non-essential, something you want but don't strictly need, implement the 24-hour rule. Wait a full 24 hours before making the purchase. During that time, ask yourself why you want it. Is it because you genuinely need its function, or believe it offers significant long-term value? Or is it the promise of that temporary feeling, that quick dopamine rush, the excitement of something new? Often, just this pause, this moment of reflection, is enough for the urge to fade, saving you money and, more importantly, helping you gain control over this biological drive. This one habit changed everything for me in distinguishing between genuine value and fleeting desire. So you set your sights on building financial momentum, right? You're ready to take control, ready to grow. But maybe, just maybe, you look at where you are right now. Perhaps you're wrestling with student loans that feel like they'll outlive you, working a job where low wage feels generous, or navigating the uncertainty of unemployment. When you're standing in that space, the feeling of not enough doesn't just feel like an emotion. It can feel like an undeniable, objective fact. It's like looking up at Everest when you've barely climbed a set of stairs. The sheer magnitude of the mountain ahead, building a meaningful savings buffer, systematically wiping out debt, significantly boosting your income, feels utterly overwhelming. You think about enough, and it seems like an impossible fantasy, a distant land you'll never reach. This perspective is the ultimate paralyzer. Think about it. You open that banking app, see a number that makes you want to close it immediately. Glance at the stack of bills demanding attention, and the thought hits you, what is even the point? I'll never get ahead like this. It's easy to succumb to that inertia, to miss the small opportunities that might be right under your nose, because the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels impossibly wide. You might even joke darkly, my budget consists of not buying things, because that feels like the only possible financial strategy. This mindset is a trap. It tells you that you need to have enough money before you can start, when the truth is, you need to start to get to enough money. Here's the surprising insight, the complete myth bust that flips this whole script. Enough at this starting line isn't about having a large sum of cash sitting pretty in an account. Not yet, anyway. The real enough you need in this initial phase is having enough resourcefulness to find creative solutions, enough knowledge to understand the path forward, and enough persistence to keep taking steps even when they feel tiny and insignificant. It's about understanding that your most valuable assets right now aren't measured in dollars, but in your time, your brain power, your willingness to learn, and your sheer grit. It's about managing what you do have, however little it seems, with maximum effectiveness. The cause and effect here is crucial. Focusing on your internal resources causes you to take action, which causes progress, which eventually causes your financial state to improve. Conversely, focusing on the lack of external money causes paralysis, which causes stagnation. It's like being given a single tool, maybe just a shovel, to dig a massive trench. You could complain you don't have an excavator, and sure, that would make it faster. But the person who gets the trench dug is the one who starts using the shovel, one scoop at a time, figuring out the best way to dig with what they have. They might read up on digging techniques, gaining knowledge, find someone to help them, resourcefulness, and just keep going day after day. Persistence. That's the energy you need to channel. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the not enough monster, if the mountain looks too steep, try this for a week. Shift your focus entirely from the dollar amount you don't have to the resourcefulness, knowledge, and persistence you can cultivate. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from taking one single tiny action today that costs little or no money but moves you slightly forward? This one habit, shifting from passive overwhelm to active, resourceful doing, changed everything for me. Your action could be creating a simple budget spreadsheet on a free tool, reading one free article, or watching one free video on saving strategies, looking up free community resources like financial literacy workshops or job training programs, or finding a free online course to learn a skill that could increase your earning potential later. Pick just one. Do it today. It's not about having enough money to start. It's about starting with the enough you already possess. Transition to next section, and once you take that first small step, you unlock a new kind of power. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive here on Earn Flow Zone. Ever feel like you're running on a financial treadmill that speeds up just as you get fitter? Like you're making more money, maybe significantly more, but the feeling of financial enoughness is still frustratingly out of reach. It's a common trap, a subtle shift that can leave you feeling just as squeezed, just as anxious, sometimes even more so than when you were making less. It's like finally upgrading your phone, only to realize the new model drains the battery faster because you're using fancier apps. The core problem didn't disappear, it just got a high-tech upgrade. This feeling isn't unique to you. It's a global phenomenon in the world of personal finance, affecting millions who climb the income ladder only to find the rungs feel just as far apart. It tricks you into believing that the amount of money is the solution, rather than how you manage or perceive it. It's not about the size of the income, but the size of the gap between what comes in and what goes out, and how your mindset influences both sides of that equation. If you're tired of hitting income milestones only to feel like the finish line keeps moving, if you're ready to understand the invisible forces sabotaging your financial freedom and actually break the cycle, you're in the right place. We're about to pull back the curtain on one of the most insidious wealth-building inhibitors. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. It signals to YouTube that this conversation matters, pushing it out to more people who need to hear it. Drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. Sharing your wins, no matter how small, inspires others and solidifies your own progress. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Okay, let's talk about a trap that ensnares countless mid-earners and sometimes even high earners. You've worked hard, you've landed that raise, maybe even switched jobs for a significant bump in pay. Your income has gone up. Fantastic. By all rational accounts, you should feel more secure, more enough, right? You should have more breathing room, more ability to save, to invest, to build that financial cushion everyone talks about. But for so many people, that's simply not the reality. Often, you find yourself feeling just as financially stressed, or sometimes, paradoxically, more stressed than before. This, my friends, is the classic lifestyle creep. Your income goes up, and your spending effortlessly rises to meet it. It's like a financial hot air balloon where you keep adding fuel, income, but you also keep adding weight, spending, so you never actually get higher off the ground. What does this look like in practice? It's subtle, It's insidious, and it feels deserved. You upgrade your apartment because, hey, you can afford more rent now. You trade in the old car for a newer, shinier model with a bigger monthly payment because you're making more. Eating out becomes more frequent. The restaurants get a little fancier. Subscriptions to streaming services, meal kits, fitness apps, they multiply. The definition of enough subconsciously ratchets up right alongside your income. The threshold for what feels normal or necessary increases. That feeling of not enough returns, maybe even stronger, because you're still living paycheck to paycheck, just at a much higher dollar amount with bigger bills to manage. Think about it. You got a 10K raise. Fantastic. Your immediate thought might be, great, now I can finally afford that. Insert desired upgrade, nicer car, bigger house payment, exotic vacation. The raise is seen as permission to increase liabilities or discretionary spending, rather than an opportunity to accelerate savings or investment. You feel you deserve a car payment that eats up that entire $10,000 raise, or maybe even $12,000 of increased spending across various categories. And just like that, you're left feeling just as financially squeezed as before. Maybe worse, because the stakes are higher, the bills are bigger, and the fall feels further. The truly surprising and frankly unsettling insight here: lifestyle creep is just not enough wearing a suit and tie. It's the mindset scaling right along with the money, sabotaging your ability to build real wealth or security because your spending appetite is now just as large, if not larger, than your increased earning power. It's like finally having a bigger bucket for water, but punching holes in the bottom as you fill it. The feeling of security doesn't come from the size of the bucket, but from how much water you can keep in it. This trap thrives on unconscious spending and the feeling that more income should equate to more spending freedom, rather than more financial freedom. So how do you fight this invisible enemy? Your action, your starting point to break free from this specific trap, is simple but incredibly powerful. For 1 month, track every single dollar you spend, not just mentally estimating or checking your bank statement occasionally. Write it down in a notebook, use a spreadsheet, or download a dedicated budgeting app. See where your money is actually going. This isn't about judgment. It's about honest, data-driven awareness. Where is lifestyle creep hiding in plain sight? Is it in those multiple streaming services, the daily gourmet coffee, the spontaneous weekend trips? This one habit changed everything for me and countless others because it makes the invisible visible. It forces you to confront where your enough threshold has crept to and gives you the power to decide if that's where you actually want it to be. Try this for a month and prepare to be surprised, maybe even a little shocked, by the reality of your cash flow. So we've peeled back the layers on lifestyle creep, revealing it not just as a spending issue, but fundamentally a mindset challenge. The feeling of not enough, simply graduating to a higher income bracket. The big takeaway here is powerful in its simplicity. True financial security and the feeling of enough don't automatically scale with your income. They scale with your mindset and your intentional control over your spending and saving habits, regardless of how much you earn. Think about that. The freedom you crave isn't waiting at a higher salary point. It's built brick by brick through conscious decisions today. The long-term benefit of tackling lifestyle creep isn't just more money in the bank, though that's a nice perk. It's the profound sense of control and peace that comes from knowing where your money is, where it's going, and that you are the one steering the ship. not unconsciously drifting with the current of increasing expenses. It's building the financial resilience to weather storms, seize opportunities, and ultimately build a life where your financial resources serve your deepest values and goals, rather than being consumed by an ever-expanding definition of normal. The deeper insight is that the pursuit of more often distracts us from the power of controlled enough. It's not about deprivation, it's about alignment. It's about deciding what truly matters to you and ensuring your money is flowing towards that, rather than being siphoned off by automatic upgrades you barely register or appreciate. Your financial power lies not just in how much you earn, but in the discipline and awareness you bring to how you manage every single dollar. That month of tracking, that simple act of confronting reality, is the first step in reclaiming that power. It's uncomfortable, sure, like looking in a brightly lit mirror after avoiding it for a while, but it is essential for sustainable growth. The journey to financial freedom isn't paved with bigger paychecks alone. It's built on a foundation of self-awareness and intentional habit. It's about recognizing the traps, understanding the psychology, and taking consistent action. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. All right, let's shift gears and talk about a specific energy I know many of you in the Earn Flow Zone audience resonate with. This is for the ambitious builder, the person whose natural state is setting big goals, chasing milestones, maybe even building businesses from the ground up. You thrive on progress. Your drive for more isn't a flaw. It's the very fuel that powers your engine. You see a peak, you climb it, and immediately you're scanning the horizon for the next, taller one. It's exhilarating, it's productive, and it's often the source of incredible financial growth and personal achievement. But here's where the plot twist comes in, and it's a classic Earn Flow Zone insight. For the ambitious builder, the feeling of not enough can manifest as constantly moving the goalposts. You hit that first significant revenue target? Fantastic. But now you're already calculating what it will take to double it. You achieve a certain net worth number you once only dreamed of? Before the champagne cork hits the floor, you're already focused on hitting that next comma, that next zero. Enough isn't a destination that brings peace. It feels like settling, like complacency, like pumping the brakes when your whole being is wired to accelerate. The cause-effect here is powerful and often insidious. This relentless pursuit, this constant belief that I'll be happy, successful when I hit X, can lead directly to burnout. You might be achieving incredible external success, building that multi-six-figure business, scaling to multi-millions. But you're secretly working 70, 80 hours a week. Your physical health takes a back seat because there's no time for the gym or a proper meal. Your relationships might fray because you're constantly distracted by the next target. Your self-worth starts getting defined purely by those external achievements. The revenue numbers, the net worth figures, the scale of your empire. You constantly feel like you're not there yet because there's always a bigger player, a higher number, a new level to unlock in the game of life and business. It's like being on a treadmill that keeps speeding up with the finish line receding into the distance. Here's the surprising insight, the myth bust that can redefine everything for the ambitious builder. True enough for someone like you isn't the absence of goals. It's not about suddenly losing your ambition or settling for less. It's the presence of conscious choice. It's developing the wisdom to know when to push relentlessly and when to pause, appreciate what you've built, and integrate well-being into your definition of success. rather than sacrificing it on the altar of future achievement. The surprising fact: often, integrating moments of rest, health, and connection doesn't slow down your long-term growth. It makes it sustainable and more joyful. It replenishes the very fuel your engine needs. This one habit changed everything for me, and for many ambitious people I've coached. It's about deliberately choosing to protect the foundations that make your ambition sustainable. Your action this week is simple, but profoundly challenging because it goes against that more instinct. Identify one area of your life, be it your physical health, a key relationship, a cherished hobby, or just quiet personal time, that you often neglect because you feel you don't have enough time or don't have enough energy due to your ambitious pursuits. Now, schedule non-negotiable time for it this week, even if it's just 30 minutes. Put it in your calendar. Set an alarm. Tell someone about it for accountability. Your mission is to protect that time fiercely, as if it were your most important business meeting. See what happens when you choose presence and well-being over the endless chase, even just for a short, dedicated block of time. Welcome to today's transformation dive into unlocking your potential and reshaping your financial reality. Have you ever felt like you're playing a never-ending game of catch-up, where the finish line just keeps moving? Like success is this shiny object just beyond your reach, no matter how hard you run? It's exhausting, right? We live in a world that constantly whispers, "You need more. You should be further along. Look at what they have." It's easy to get trapped in that loop, believing that your current situation is merely a stepping stone, a waiting room, for the real life that starts when you hit some arbitrary goal, a certain income, a specific net worth, or that dream purchase. But what if I told you that this constant striving, while it has its place, is actually keeping you from unlocking a powerful key to both peace and progress? It's a bit counterintuitive, maybe even ironic, that the feeling of lack can actively block the flow of abundance you desire. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content that gets to the heart of these challenges, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think in getting these messages out to people who need them. And while you're at it, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win. I love hearing your stories. Today, we're going to challenge that not enough narrative and explore a fundamental shift that can change everything. Not just about your money, but about how you experience your life right now. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Section 8. Finding enough in the present. We've talked about breaking cycles and building momentum, but there's a critical piece that often gets overlooked when we're focused on growth and future goals: the present moment. Specifically, the radical act of finding enough where you are right now. Think of your brain like a highly optimized search engine, always looking for potential threats or things that are missing. It's wired for survival, constantly scanning the horizon for problems to solve or resources you don't have yet. This is why that not enough feeling is so sticky. It's part of our evolutionary programming. But while that served our ancestors well when they were worrying about where the next meal came from, in our modern world, it can keep us in a state of chronic dissatisfaction, forever chasing the next marker of success. The first step to truly changing that deeply ingrained not enough mindset isn't achieving more. It's pausing the constant striving and looking honestly at your present circumstances, not through the anxious lens of future desires or the heavy weight of past regrets, but simply what is. This isn't about settling or claiming perfection. It's about acknowledging sufficiency for this moment. It's like checking your current inventory before making a shopping list. You need to know what you have before you decide what you lack. For example, you might feel not enough because you don't own a house, a common goal for many and a powerful symbol of financial security. But look around your rented apartment or current living situation. You have shelter from the elements. You likely have warmth, a place to sleep, furniture, perhaps internet access connecting you to the world, food in your fridge or pantry. That is a form of enough for living today. You have the foundational elements for existence and even some modern comforts. Acknowledging this isn't ignoring your desire for a house. It's recognizing the current reality of your safety and basic needs being met. It's a factual observation, not an emotional judgment. Here's the surprising insight, the hidden superpower you might not be leveraging. Gratitude isn't just a nice feeling or a spiritual exercise. It's a powerful, practical tool for anchoring yourself in the present enough. It actively counteracts your brain's natural bias towards seeking what's missing. When you deliberately focus on what you do have, you're essentially retraining that search engine to find assets instead of just liabilities. It shifts your focus from lack to presence, from scarcity to sufficiency. It doesn't magically pay off debt or land you a promotion, but it changes your internal state, which is the bedrock of sustainable growth. Think of it like shifting from running on fumes, fueled by stress and perceived lack, to having a steady energy source, powered by grounded awareness and appreciation. This one habit changed everything for me, transforming the relentless chase into a more grounded journey. It's not about faking happiness. It's about consciously observing reality beyond the missing pieces. Try this for a week and commit to it. Every morning or evening, set aside 2 minutes. Name or write down 3 specific things you have in your life related to financial security or overall well-being that you are genuinely grateful for right now. Be specific. Don't just say, "my job." Say, "my job that provided the income I needed for groceries this week," or "the stable internet connection that allows me to work remotely," or "the reliable car that got me to work safely today." It could be as simple as "the food in my fridge" or "the comfortable bed I get to sleep in." The more specific you are, the more tangible and real the feeling of enough becomes. It's a small action, but its impact on your mindset and ability to find peace and power in the present is profound. It's like giving your brain a gentle nudge towards recognizing abundance, opening the door for more to flow in. Wind down, reflective close. As we wrap up this deep dive, let's bring it all back to the core idea. We've explored the discomfort of the not enough mindset and the quiet power of finding sufficiency in the present moment. The big takeaway here isn't that you should stop striving or pursuing your goals. Far from it. It's that grounding yourself in where you are today isn't an obstacle to future success. It's the most stable launchpad you could ever build. The constant feeling of lack creates friction, stress, and can lead to poor decisions driven by anxiety. Conversely, acknowledging your current enough creates a sense of peace and clarity. It frees up mental energy that was previously consumed by worry about what's missing. The potential long-term benefit here is immense. When you operate from a place of grounded awareness, recognizing your present reality, you make better decisions. You're less likely to fall for get-rich-quick schemes born of desperation. You're better able to appreciate the progress you are making, which fuels sustained motivation. You build resilience because you understand that fluctuations are part of the journey, but your fundamental well-being isn't solely tied to the next milestone. It's about building a financial life and a life, period, that feels good not just at the finish line, but along every step of the way. The daily practice of finding enough, of gratitude for the present reality, might seem small, almost trivial, but it chips away at the foundation of scarcity thinking, replacing it with a quiet confidence. It's a deeper insight about money, discipline, and growth. True wealth isn't just about accumulating assets. It's about cultivating a mindset of abundance that allows you to see and appreciate the richness that already exists. This internal shift is the most significant investment you can make. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. So we've talked about building habits, managing the flow, and optimizing your resources. But optimization for what? That brings us to a question society rarely encourages you to ask, especially about money. What's your definition of enough? Because let's be honest, enough isn't some universal number everyone magically agrees on. It's not like trying to find the boiling point of water or calculating gravity. Your enough is as unique as your fingerprint, and you have to define it for yourself. This isn't about setting a finish line where you suddenly stop striving. It's about aligning your money, your time, and your energy with your deepest values and priorities, not blindly chasing society's often inflated expectations or impulse-driven desires. Think of it like setting your own fitness goals instead of just trying to look like the most airbrushed person on Instagram. What does a life that genuinely feels enough actually look like for you? It's not about needing a private jet or a yacht. That's the billionaire luxury endgame that, frankly, feels out of reach for most and often still leaves people feeling empty. It's about feeling genuinely content, secure, and fulfilled on your terms. Maybe enough for you means having enough passive income to cover your basic needs, giving you freedom from a job you dislike. Maybe it's enough time and flexibility to be truly present with your family, even if it means earning a little less upfront. Could it be enough savings for a down payment on a modest home that feels like yours? Or maybe it's having enough financial padding to take a leap and pursue a passion project without stressing about next month's rent. Consider this common scenario. You might look at a flashy car and think, okay, that's success, that's enough. But if you dig deeper, you might realize that while a fancy car is nice, what you really value is freedom and travel, exploring new places and experiences. In that case, enough for you might mean having a reliable, fuel-efficient vehicle that gets you where you need to go, and enough money saved for an annual adventure, even if it's a modest road trip or camping excursion, rather than being saddled with a huge monthly car payment that traps you financially. The cause is chasing external validation, fancy car. The effect is potentially less freedom. The cause is aligning money with values, travel. The effect is more fulfillment. Here's the surprising insight, the total myth bust many never confront. Society, particularly through advertising and social media feeds, trains you to value relentless accumulation, more stuff, bigger numbers, constant upgrades. But true enough is rarely found at the top of the accumulation mountain. It's discovered by aligning your resources, your financial flow, with your unique definition of a good life. It's like cooking a meal. You need enough ingredients for your recipe, not just hoarding every spice in the aisle because someone told you you should have them all. This clarity is powerful because it stops you from chasing goals that won't actually make you happy and redirects your energy towards building a life you genuinely value. It's the critical first step after getting your finances in order, understanding what the point of having ordered finances is for you. So here's a powerful action step, a prompt for reflection that can change everything about how you view your financial journey. Get out a pen and paper or open a note on your phone. First, list your top 3 core life values. Be honest. What truly matters to you? Think values like security, freedom, family, contribution, adventure, learning, creativity, health. Then for each of those 3 values, write down just one concrete way money could support it. This isn't about complex financial planning yet. It's about clarifying what enough truly means to you in a practical, values-driven sense. It's a simple exercise, but its clarity can be profoundly liberating. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. And often, the biggest mental shift isn't about getting more. It's about acknowledging what you already have. We're talking about moving beyond the relentless drive for accumulation and discovering the profound power of simply recognizing that you have enough. Think about it like a fitness journey. If you constantly feel not fit enough, you might avoid the gym altogether or only do exercises you feel safe doing, never pushing your limits. Similarly, when you operate from a place of not enough financially, your focus narrows almost solely to acquiring, protecting, and worrying. Every decision is filtered through a lens of scarcity. Can I afford this if something goes wrong? Or, I need to save everything because the future is uncertain. This mindset can feel like you're constantly running uphill, no matter how much money you actually make. But here's where the transformation happens. When you embrace the concept of enough, this doesn't mean settling or stopping your goals. Absolutely not. It means acknowledging your current reality. Okay, based on my income, expenses, and savings, I currently have enough to cover my needs and a little bit more. When you ground yourself in this present reality of enough, even while you're still striving for more, something incredible unlocks. You gain the power to use your resources differently, more intentionally. Enough allows for generosity because you see you have a surplus, however small, to share. It allows for investing in experiences over just accumulating things because you realize experiences enrich your life in ways possessions can't, and you have the capacity for them. It allows for taking calculated risks, whether it's investing in a new skill or starting a side hustle, because you know you have a buffer, enough to fall back on if things don't go perfectly. And crucially, it allows you to simply enjoy what you have right now, today. The focus shifts from hoarding out of fear to creating a flow of resources that serves your life and your values. Consider this example. Instead of constantly saving every single penny, white-knuckling your budget out of a fear of not enough for some vague, distant future emergency that may or may not happen, you shift. You look at your finances and realize, hey, I actually have enough to save consistently towards my future goals and spend a modest amount on a meaningful experience this month. Maybe that weekend workshop or a nice dinner with loved ones. Or, I have enough saved that I can contribute a small amount to a cause I deeply believe in. This isn't reckless spending. It's intentional allocation from a place of grounded reality, not panic. And here's the surprising insight. The real myth bust, a scarcity or not enough mindset focused purely on hoarding and fear, can ironically prevent you from building true wealth and fulfillment in the long run. It can make you risk-averse to the point of missing growth opportunities, or so stressed about money that it impacts your health and relationships. The non-financial parts of wealth. Conversely, an enough mindset grounded in your present reality empowers intentional action, reduces crippling anxiety, and opens doors to opportunities you wouldn't see when you're stuck in survival mode. It's like finally taking your foot off the brake and realizing the car can actually move forward. Now, this isn't just theory, it's a practice. So try this for a week. Identify one small way you can use a tiny portion of your current resources, maybe $5, 30 minutes of your time, or sharing a skill you have, to create value beyond just acquiring more for yourself. This could be making a small donation to a local charity, offering your expertise to help a friend with their resume, or simply sharing something you own, like lending a tool instead of letting it sit idle, with someone who needs it. It's a small act, but it's a powerful exercise in operating from a place of enough and starting that flow. Living from a place of enough. It sounds lovely, doesn't it? Like sipping tea on a porch while the bills magically pay themselves. But for most people, the reality of enough feels like a constant chase, a moving target, fueled by stress and anxiety. What if I told you that feeling of enough isn't just a mental shift, but something you can build? It's supported by practical systems, quiet engines humming in the background of your financial life, ensuring things are handled without requiring your daily willpower struggles. Think of it like this. Building systems is like putting your financial life on autopilot for the crucial stuff. You wouldn't manually steer your car on a long highway trip if cruise control was available, right? Systems reduce the mental load of money worries. They automate smart decisions, effectively pushing back against that pervasive feeling of not enough that whispers in your ear every time you look at your bank balance or face an unexpected expense. It's the difference between trying to manually bail out a leaky boat and having an automatic bilge pump. One is exhausting and often fails. The other just works. Let's look at the classic example, saving money. Most people intend to save. They see money hit their account and they plan to transfer some if there's enough left over at the end of the pay cycle. How often does that work out? Maybe sometimes, but it relies entirely on your mood, your expenses, and your mental fortitude at that exact moment. It relies on feeling like you have enough left over. But what if you set up an automatic transfer? Every payday, before the money even sits there tempting you to buy that shiny new gadget, a percentage or a fixed amount zips off to your savings account. You don't have to feel like you have enough left. The saving happens automatically. It's done. This builds a foundation of security, a tangible form of enough, without you having to fight your own brain every 2 weeks. It's like telling your future self, "Hey, I got this. You can relax a little." Here's the surprising insight, and it's a big one. True financial peace doesn't come from having seemingly endless options or an overflowing checking account, though those are nice. It comes from having simple, reliable systems that ensure your basic needs are met, your bills are paid, and your goals are being pursued consistently. It's the certainty that matters, not the extravagance. It's knowing the rent money is there, the savings are growing, And you don't have to remember to manually move money around like a squirrel burying nuts every day. Systems are the invisible scaffolding that supports your peace of mind. They might not be as exciting as a lottery win, but they are infinitely more effective and sustainable. This week, let's make this tangible. Your action is simple but powerful. Set up one automated financial habit. Just one. Don't try to overhaul your entire budget. This could be an automatic transfer of just $10 or $20 to your savings account every payday. It could be setting up automatic bill payment for a recurring expense you often forget. Or it could be as simple as linking your bank account to a budgeting app like Mint or YNAB so your spending is tracked automatically, without manual entry. Choose the simplest one you can think of. Ask yourself, what's the single most annoying financial task that automation could solve for me this week? Start there. This one habit might not seem like much on its own, but it's the first brick in building your system for enough. It's about creating financial flow that happens for you, not to you. So we started this Earn Flow Zone journey talking about that familiar knot in the stomach, the feeling of not enough. It's that endless striving, the comparison trap, the maddening race towards moving goalposts that seem to shift just as you get close. We've peeled back the layers throughout these past discussions, realizing that enough isn't some magical financial number you cross one day. It's a state of mind, a mindset you consciously cultivate, day in and day out. It's about recognizing and appreciating the sufficiency that exists in your present moment, regardless of how much further you plan to go. It's about intentionally aligning your money decisions with your deepest values, countering that primal, biological drive for more with deliberate, thoughtful choices. We've seen how true resourcefulness isn't tied to the size of your bank account, but your ability to make the most of what you have at any level. We talked about the insidious nature of lifestyle creep and how it steals your enough, regardless of income growth, and how true success needs to be defined beyond mere accumulation, incorporating peace, purpose, and connection. Here's a challenging thought, maybe even a myth bust: the idea that more money inherently brings more contentment. It's a narrative we're fed constantly, but the reality is, countless people with significant wealth still grapple with that feeling of not enough, constantly chasing the next milestone. The data consistently shows that beyond a certain point, which is often far lower than people imagine, increased income has diminishing returns on happiness, while the feeling of contentment is much more strongly linked to factors like social connections, purpose, and, you guessed it, mindset. Consider this cause and effect. If you ignore this fundamental lesson about cultivating present sufficiency, you risk spending your entire life on a treadmill, chasing a feeling of security and contentment that will always remain just out of reach, no matter how much money you make or save. The cause is the mindset of perpetual lack. The effect is chronic anxiety, burnout, constantly missing opportunities for genuine joy and connection happening right now, and potentially damaging your most important relationships and health in the relentless pursuit of that elusive, moving target. You'll never feel truly ready to live fully or to give generously, because you'll always be waiting for enough to magically arrive. It's like constantly trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. But if you choose to embrace this powerful principle, the truth that you can cultivate a deep sense of enough right now while still intelligently working towards growing more, you reclaim incredible personal power. The cause is the choice to shift your internal state. The effect is gaining immense clarity, dramatically reducing that background hum of anxiety, making truly intentional financial and life choices, and finding genuine, deep satisfaction in the journey itself, not just some future destination. You build a foundation of inner peace that no market fluctuation, unexpected bill, or social media comparison can easily shake. So take a moment now. Look back at that initial feeling that brought you here, that sense of not enough. Now, based on everything we've discussed, understanding enough as a mindset, aligning with values, countering the more drive, finding resourcefulness, defining success inwardly, what is one specific tiny action you can take right now or today to anchor yourself, even just for a moment, in the truth that you do have some level of enough to build from? This isn't about creating a huge plan or finding a magic bullet. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from acknowledging one simple thing you have right now? Health, a skill, a safe place, a relationship, a single dollar, and allowing yourself to feel, even for a breath, that is okay, that is a starting point of enough. Just one honest look, one moment of conscious gratitude for what is. One tiny intentional step aligned not with society's definition of more, but with your emerging definition of enough. Do that one thing. Today. Now. As we slow down and wrap up, remember the single biggest takeaway from this journey. Your financial reality is a lagging indicator of your internal state. The external numbers are important tools, yes, but the true architect of your wealth and well-being is your mindset. The potential long-term benefit of embracing this truth is not just more money, but a life lived with less stress, more intention, and deeper satisfaction at every stage. It's a deeper insight that money is a resource to enable a rich life, not the richness itself. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around.